Well, good evening, Kevin, and welcome to you and to all of our viewers who are watching this. Tonight we have another session of our series, of Meet a Columban. Tonight we have Father Kevin Mullins, who comes from Brisbane, but is now currently working as a Columban in Bristol, Rhode Island. So good evening, Kevin, and welcome.
Thank you very much, Trevor. It's nice to be here with you all.
Thanks for making your time available. We have introduced a few other Columbans over the last few weeks. So, but I thought, well, we need another Columban with a lot of experience, and you're a man of a lot of experience. So, I wonder whether you'd be prepared to share a little bit of like where you grew up and how you joined the Columbans.
Sure, of course, Father Trotter. I was born in Sydney, but after a month, because of very complicated reasons, I was taken to Brisbane, and there I grew up, blessed with great, wonderful parents, wonderful sister, and given the nature of my father's job, he was in the legal game, he was a magistrate. So we went to Wandai, Kingaroy, Roma, Mount Isa, Clermont, Herberton, Bundaberg, Rockhampton, finally Brisbane. So we travelled a lot, and we saw met lots of people in our great state of Queensland. And I was thinking about, we met as growing up as children. We always met the local parish priest. I was thinking about the local diocesan priesthood, and I was thinking about the Franciscans.
Okay.
And I was thinking about the Jesuits.
Right.
But, whilst I admired them all, I admired the diocesan priests, I knew there was something missionary or international about the priesthood that I hoped to be participating in. The Franciscans, I admired them too, but I thought I wouldn't be suitable for a habit on a permanent basis. And I thought about the Jesuits, of course, but I wasn't too sure whether I'd receive enough intellectual challenge with the Jesuits, So
Kevin, could I ask you to be gentle, because we may have some Jesuit fathers watching us,
Okay.
And I wouldn't be talking too much about Queensland, but especially the Broncos are not doing very well in the football. So.
We'll glide over that, Trev.
Thank you.
No, it was by good fortune, by God's blessing, I met with the Columbans, and I've been a Columban almost for 43 years, and it's been just a marvelous blessing in my life, and I've met so many holy, good, magnificent people in my life as a priest. I couldn't begin to describe the gratitude I have to God, I feel to God for the blessings I've received as a priest.
Thank you very much, Kev. That's great. So you came to Sydney, you went through the seminary, and then you got your first mission appointment. Where did you go first?
Well, we were sent to Chile in South America, and I think we arrived on April Fool's Day, 1979, in Chile. I'm pretty sure we did. But then after 2 weeks in Chile, we were sent up to Cochabamba in Bolivia to study Spanish for 6 months.
Okay.
And that was another experience, another reality. It was challenging. There was some health issues, but eventually it was a great commencement to somehow gradually acquire another language.
Yeah. And so when you finished your language school, you came back to where in Chile?
We went back to Santiago.
Okay.
And I was there in two of our outlying parishes around the border, the slum parts of the city of Santiago.
Okay.
And then up to the United States for CPE course, and what was the commencement of 6 years of hospital ministry, and mainly in emergency room ministry.
Oh, really? You'd sort of jumped right into the middle of it, in emergency room.
Yes, well, I'd always wanted to be an emergency room doctor if I hadn't been a priest. So I was fascinated with the environment and the outreach to people, what possibilities of being a priest in an emergency room and accompanying people, and with all the different experiences that people are beset by,
right?
Health, accidents, etc. So you always have a very close relationship too with doctors, staff, doctors and nurses.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Very wonderful. It was sometimes a little colorful, but it was a great way to meet people and to bring somehow in a very maybe stumbling way the love and the comfort that the Lord brings us all.
So if I remember correctly, I can remember hearing stories of you traveling even in the ambulance. Is that right?
Yes, we used to go out in Chicago on the East-West Tollway. Trev, you're familiar with Chicago? And we did a paramedics course. So part of that was we go out with the ambulance
Okay.
a few nights, and we go with the police a few nights and go on the patrol with the police. And as you know, in the United States, the ambulance, the fire brigade work together. And so it was very memorable, to say the least.
Do you have any stories that you would like to share with us about working in the emergency room in Chicago? Chicago sounds like a fairly exciting place to work like that.
Yes, there is. There's just so many. In one evening, you can see gunshots, heart attacks, accidents, road accidents, suicide attempts. The whole, you have the whole variety of human experience and sadness and tragedy. But also, it's incredible to see how people who've been injured for whatever reason or sick, how they begin to recover with care, with the medicines, obviously, but also with the care of the medical staff and the nurses and the chaplains.
Okay.
How people begin so quickly to respond to assistance and medical care. So it's quite astounding to see people, how they recover so swiftly.
Right, yeah. So after that time then in Chicago, where was your next port of call?
Well, it was back to Chile for a few more years in a hospital down there, emergency room there. But after 6 years in the emergency room,
Yeah.
I was asked to go to southern Chile with the Mapuche indigenous people.
Oh,
And this was out like we say in Australia, Trev, out bush.
right, okay. So tell us a bit more about the Mapuche people. Who are we talking about? You said they're the indigenous people?
Yeah, they're one of the indigenous groups of people in Chile.
Okay.
They've probably been living where they're living at the moment since maybe the 12th or 13th century.
Okay.
They came down from the northern parts from northern Chile and Peru, different indigenous peoples spread out throughout South America, Latin America.
Okay.
And they have a great wealth of religious and cultural richness, linguistic, their own language.
Yeah.
And very kind and very loving and very charitable and people, in my experience.
Yeah.
I thought, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking, Chile is a long kind of skinny country, right?
Yeah.
So what part of this skinny country were you working with in the Mapuche?
It would be 800 kilometers south of Santiago, the capital.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful area characterized. It's called the Araucanía, and it's characterized by large volcanoes, active volcanoes, forests, lakes, rivers. So it's just another completely different experience. Again, I was frightened before going there, which was unnecessary because on arrival there, I discovered what a wealth of riches there is amongst the people there.
So what sort of conditions are the people living in? Could you describe a little bit of, what were you doing? Were you working in a parish, or what was the situation?
I was a parish priest there, and there were 36 chapels, 36 communities.
Really?
Which kept us busy. But Trev, we were young in those days, so we were able to do all the walking and the rowing and the boating and to get to these places. And normally Mapuche people don't live in villages. They live isolated in houses in the countryside.
Okay.
And, some of the very poor dwellings, others are a little bit better. But like so many indigenous peoples, they've suffered from poverty and health issues for centuries. Right,
yeah. So, you were one Columban down there. Were there other Columbans with you in that area, or how did it work?
There was Mike Howe, there was Georgie Hogarty, there was Frank Jones, Bill Moran was there. Bill Moran was there for a while.
Okay.
Did sterling work there. So we all made a contribution. And
Right.
there was a lot of carrying, walking, driving of four-wheel drive vehicles. At the initial stage, there was some horse riding,
Oh, yeah.
rowing in boats and with the outboard motor. So thanks to our benefactors, helped us be able to go to the remote places to visit the people. So we're very grateful for what the benefactors, how they've helped us over the many years.
Right, right. Well, the way you describe it, it sounds a bit like paradise. Why did you leave, or where did you go next?
Next, I was doing some fundraising in London for a
Okay.
year and a half, go out and preach in parishes and beg for some help. And Arturo Aguilar and Bill Morton, two of our colleagues, invited me. So I was returning to Chile to go to Ciudad Juarez in the northern Mexican state of Chihuahua,
Mm-hmm.
and to see the Columban presence there. They asked me to leave Chile and go there, but I thought that they were out of their minds because it was such a very poor place and very, very hot.
Really?
So
Yeah.
I returned to Chile, and happily down to the Mapuche. I was 44 years of age. I sat
Right.
down with the Psalms, began to pray the Psalms, and all I could hear, not that I was hearing voices, Trevor, but just in my spirit, I could hear Mexico, 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 Mexico.
Really,
So
really.
I put that off for 2 years. Finally, after 2 years, I said, okay, Lord, I'll try. I'll see what happens. And so I went to Mexico, northern Mexico, for 16 and a half years. And we were fulsomely blessed by contact with the Mexican people and the Mexican culture.
Right. Well, I mean, I remember visiting you down there, and it's not exactly, the greenest place that I've been to. I mean, you might have to go far, far west in Queensland to see something of the same lack of any grass around the place. It's all desert, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all sand, really. It's all a fine sand, and you're right, Trevor. It's not the swankiest real estate you'll ever come across, but my God, the people. It's poor, but the human resources are just beyond description.
Really, really. It just it's close to the border, right? And there's the city over in the United States. Is what?
El Paso, Texas.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
And the northern border of our parish is the U.S.-Mexican border.
Okay. The Rio Grande River.
The Rio Grande River. But that's what they call in the United States. In Mexico, we call it the Rio Bravo.
The Rio Bravo. Okay. Very good.
So they're two different, and it's a bit of a stream at the moment. There's not much water in it.
And there's something there called a wall also, is that right?
Yes, there's a wall in different places there a rather controversial wall, and it separates part of for example, in front of our parish is a very large hill. We call it a mountain in Australia.
Yeah.
It's too difficult to put a wall over it, so people just walk across the mountain if they want to.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you would have seen people walking from Mexico into the United States.
Yes, people would come to us for a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
We'd always say, look, it's illegal from both sides of the border to enter, but and it can be dangerous. We give them a blessing for God's protection for them.
Okay.
Away they go, and people, they'll be searching for a better life, and we'd always warn them about the illegality.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
We also understand that people who are poor, they want to work hard, and improved a lot of their wife and their family. So it's understandable.
Well, that's what I always think when I hear about that, or when I see images of it. How desperate must be the situation of these people that they're willing to take those sorts of risks, and knowing the sort of challenges that they will face in the United States. It's just amazing.
Yes, and people have been doing that for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's a complex issue.
Sure.
Oftentimes, the more racist interpretations come to the fore, and people end up being abused, and it's a disgrace.
Yeah, yeah. Well, could you tell us a little about the name of your parish there was Corpus Christi, is it?
Corpus Christi, yes, the body of Christ.
And so you mentioned, like, when you were down with Mapuche territory, you had a lot of chapels, other little places that you traveled to. I mean, what was the setup in Corpus Christi? You had a church?
We had a main church, and we had one time we had 3 little chapels. But one of the chapels was destroyed and then built up again. But so that was the main. It was the parish plant, we'll say. But when we got there, go ahead, Trevor, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking, I mean, the people, when I was there, the place looked very poor. How did people make a living? What sort of work were the people doing?
Well, people would mainly work in the maquiladoras, these factories that are all over Juarez. There's a factory not far from our parish there. I believe it employs 6,000 people.
Wow.
It's the Foxconn factory, I think, from Taiwan. I think they're based in Taiwan.
Oh, really?
I think.
Yeah.
And they make a lot of computer parts and computers and etc. So, or in the construction business, or there's a plethora of jobs, but mainly the main job in Juarez is working in the maquiladoras.
In these factories that were kind of been built up by, as you say, even from people from Taiwan, but I presume a lot of people from the United States, they owned these factories, and then they would ship the goods back across the border. Is that the idea?
Yes. There's also Canadian factories, and there's French, I believe. They also make a lot of medical instruments there. That's very big in the local economy. So they're the things that, but they've been shut down a bit for the COVID-19, but I think they're coming back online. So a lot of the people from the parish would work in those factories.
Right. You mentioned COVID-19. Of course, it's affecting everybody around the world. But do you have any reports of what's happening in Corpus Christi, in your parish?
I believe in the Columban Parish, where I was the parish priest before, there've been quite a number of people have died, but I'm not sure of the numbers, and I believe there's been a tapering off.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes there is an underreporting of the number of people killed or died from the virus, so I'm not sure of all the subtleties regard the number of actual deaths. Right,
yeah. One of the things that struck me, of course, when I remember going to Sunday Mass with you there, it was a little more lively than what I had grown up with back home in New South Wales.
Right.
So can you tell us and tell those who are watching this interview a little bit of what that Mass was like and what liturgy was like generally?
Well, oftentimes, because of the violence in Ciudad Juarez, in Mexico, people would come to our parish, camera crews, news teams, expected to see mayhem, which of course they could see in our parish. I mean, I've seen plenty of mayhem and death and all manner of unpleasantness, to put it mildly.
Right, yeah.
But also, the Mexican people have a deep, deep faith and are very expressive, love the praise hymns, are able to have I'd say, Lord, leave me a few more years, leave me more time in Mexico so I can pick up some of the faith of the Mexican people, because they really have a very deep faith.
Really?
So with this, with the praise hymns, people come along expecting to see a mass of dejected, crushed people. In fact, they find the exact opposite. People who are resilient, faith-filled, and looking for ways to help their neighbor and their friends, their family. So very inspiring to live with Mexican people, to be close to them, and
right,
so
yeah.
It's a blessing beyond comprehension.
I think it was on the same day that I was there. There was a celebration in the afternoon for, I think, the 15-year-old girls. Is that right? Is there a special sort of rite of passage?
Yeah, it's called La Quinceañera.
Okay. And what's that about?
Well, it's about the young lady maturing, ready to assume responsibilities, familiar responsibilities in the home. Also a celebration of her life at the age of 15, and there's special prayers, and special prayers of the faithful, blessings, flowers, dresses, and it's normally followed by could be a sumptuous meal or a simple meal, but certainly it's a wonderful celebration, and all the Mexican girls look forward to that, as do their families, their parents and their families and their friends.
Yeah, I mean, they were all dressed up like it was. I thought I thought I was looking at a stack of brides or bridesmaids or something. Like, you know, it was really quite a celebration. Yeah.
Oh yes, it's beautiful, and it's a wonderful custom. Sometimes people might spend a little too much money that they mightn't have on these, but still, it's essentially a celebration of the young lady's life.
Okay.
So that's worth celebrating.
As we talk about this parish, I keep my memory. Things keep coming back to my mind about the things I saw there. We were driving down the main road, and there was sort of like an island, a big island in the middle of the road. And I think you told me you said a mass there or something.
Yeah, we had a peace mass there in the middle of the roundabout. We call it in Australia, right, Trevor?
Yeah, that's right.
We have big banners up there for peace. We say a mass there. It belonged to it was a military checkpoint. Every 6 months, we'd have to speak to the Commandante, the head of the military patrol there. And these guys always had 50 caliber machine guns following us around, you know, as we passed through there, and we stopped and searched. But we asked them every 6 months, we renew the permission to celebrate Mass there. We'd have about 15 pickups, utes, and tables and instruments and the altar and the chairs and the shade. It was very hot there. And we'd all jump out, put these things out, set up like a rosary for peace, celebrate the Mass for peace in our country, in Mexico.
Right.
And then all pack up and get out of Dodge quickly.
Right, okay.
We did it for 3.5 years, and it was a wonderful response from people.
Lovely, yeah.
80 to 100 people every Tuesday night.
Now, you say it's for peace. Peace between who? Who's involved in the conflicts there?
Well, the conflict is the Mexican drug war.
Oh, okay.
And, can I tell you a short story, Trev?
Please.
Do we have time for a short story?
Yes, short story, we do.
One day I'm driving through the desert back to the United States in a dusty track. Have I told you about this story?
No, go ahead.
So I'm driving along, and I see a vehicle barreling towards me, a white van. So being the courteous Queensland driver, I pulled off to the side, and instead of to let the van pass, but they braked in front of me with a cloud of dust. And then once the dust had dispersed, I saw there were 3 gentlemen with blue overalls on, ski masks, and AK-47s pointing at me.
Really?
So I thought to myself, I said a quick act of contrition, just a quick one, you know. And so one of them, they kept training the weapons on me. One came around to the door, opened the door, and he told me to get out of the vehicle quickly, or worse to that effect, Trevor, you know.
Right, yes.
And he had the barrel was about a foot from my head.
Right.
I thought to myself, I was 46 at the time. I said, what a loss to the Catholic Church if he pulls the trigger, you see.
Right.
So they got me out, and they began to push me belt me with the rifle, the butts, you know.
Yeah.
And they said, who are you? Who are you?
Yeah.
In very colorful language. And I said, look, I'm the harmless and very simple parish priest from down the hill.
Yeah.
And they said, Father, why don't you tell us who you are? And they took off their masks, put their rifles down, and gave me a big hug. And I thought to myself, would anybody like a cigarette? You know, I offered them a cigarette. And so that's what happened. And one of them said he had a grandson needed to be baptized. I said, that's your parish down there. So
it was all this drama and excitement. You have since you're now in Bristol. And what are you doing in Bristol?
Well, I've had a few health issues recently, Trev, but I'm one of the In fact, I'm the youngest priest here. I'm 66 and a half.
All right.
And our hope, we assist our brothers who are aging here. They need to get medical treatment. They need to go to a nursing home, or they need just assistance during the day. So we do what we can to make their last 10 or 20 or 30 years comfortable and safe, and hopefully with access to all the necessary medicinal help.
Now, so these are aged Columbans that have been working overseas for many years. They now come back, basically American, or do you have any Irish guys there? Or
there's one, the House Superior, Dr. John Brannigan. He's from Northern Ireland.
Okay.
I'm Australian born, but I've got 2 passports. So I've got dual nationality.
All right.
And then the others would all be, there's a couple of Irish guys, and the rest would be North American US citizens.
So do you have many in the facility there, Kevin?
Sure, yeah. All told, we're about 16.
16, okay.
And in the nursing home, there's about 5.
Right. So you add up all the years of missionary work that those guys have done, you come up with a fairly big figure. Yeah, amazing.
Oh, yes, it'd be a few centuries. Including all our years, it'd be a few centuries.
Well, Kevin, I think we'll just have to about call it quits at this stage. But can I just say thank you very, very much for all that you've done and that you are doing for our brothers over there. All the best, and God bless.
Thank you, Trevor, and it's a great experience. Blessed to be a Columban. God bless you all, and regards to everyone in Australia.
Thank you.